it required like a whole mentality shift for me. But yeah, it was not expected or a dream by any means.
Ivy League programs, especially at Harvard or Yale, have been envied for centuries. But sometimes we forget that everyone has a story of their own. Meet an Ozark student that recently got into both those schools. Question is, were those schools a lifelong dream or goal of hers?
Hi, my name is Emilie Williams. Most people call me Weave. I am a senior here. I study religion and philosophy, and I have a minor in sociology. I hadn't really thought of applying anywhere like that. I was a very average student in high school, and I had a list of divinity schools and seminaries that I was going to apply to, and Dr. Daly was just like, hey, I have 2 more schools I think you should look into. I think you're ready for that kind of setting, and said Harvard Divinity School and Yale Divinity School. So that was really what sparked my interest.
I first met Weave when she first came to college here at Ozarks. She was a student in my Ozark seminar class. I think that happened because she'd already expressed an interest in studying religion while she was here. I don't exactly remember any particular day that I suggested to her that she consider applying to a place like Harvard or Yale. But I do remember early on recognizing that she had a kind of drive. She was involved already nationally in doing youth work with the Presbyterian Church.
I thought he was kidding at first. But I mean, he just really was adamant about the way you write and told me that, they have really great programs for interfaith work specifically. And what I'm really interested in is diversity work, religion in America, religious relations in America, how complicated that is. So I think he just kind of knew where my interests were and where they would be fulfilled.
I also came to see pretty quickly that when it came to doing her studies, she was pretty consistent. She did the reading, she was always prepared, she was interested and engaged. And the other thing that happened that I think is really important, especially to leading her to really have a strong interest in Yale and Harvard, and especially Harvard, was her interest that she developed here in interfaith studies. That became her passion. Something that she felt like she could make a difference in the world. And Harvard is really strong in studies in pluralism and interfaith.
One thing just to keep in mind is applying to divinity school is very different than applying to any other type of graduate program. So with divinity school, I think it's just the content of what you study is so sensitive. So there is just a lot more of your emotional and mental energy that goes into those essays. You write about the skills that you have and why you think you're the best person to make change in the world. So the application process itself, you write essays, you write a personal statement. One other thing that people don't realize about applying to those programs is there's no interview. So there's a lot of stress surrounding who you are on paper. It really helps to have good recommendation letter providers and a full resume if you can. They're very much looking for students who come from very diverse backgrounds, not just in your own home life and maybe racial identity, but also students who come from different kinds of schools. So that was something I very much kind of played off of in the application process. And doing interfaith work here has been very interesting. So that's something I would say. So don't let coming to a small school discourage you.
But every success comes with backstory. Born and raised in Keller, Texas, she came from a very diverse background that possibly helped shape her outlook on the world.
I come from a multiracial family, and that's something that I always like to say was very influential for me growing up. So my dad is half Syrian and my brother is adopted from Guatemala. So he was adopted when my mom was 6 months pregnant with me. It was kind of like having twins, I guess. So I think that overall really shaped, I guess, just my perspective, my viewpoint. So, my brother and I graduated high school the same year. We were always in the same grade growing up. And I think I definitely had a very good hold of what white privilege was from a very young age, really before I had the language for that. And so I think that it makes sense for me to be interested in interfaith work in this context. Just coming from that kind of background definitely changed the way that I saw the world for sure. So moving forward, one thing I really look forward to is to continue to build that sense of community in a very diverse setting. I did end up choosing Harvard, and the biggest factor that came into that decision was just the opportunities there in terms of like diverse groups of people that I might meet, very intergenerational, different religious identities, race and ethnic backgrounds. I'm so excited to go there. I'm just looking forward to continuing this next chapter of my life, somewhere so different, somewhere with so many different people, and just have a genuinely like new experience. Harvard, I am coming for you.